Life, created by Dementia Action Alliance. Our website is danow.org. I'm your proud host, Chuck McClatchey, and I live my life with Alzheimer's disease. During this podcast, we will have conversations with inspiring people living with dementia and the amazing people who care about us. My guest today is Steve Heins, who has a wonderful story. Steve, go ahead and introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about you.
My name is Steve Heins, and I'm 67 years old. I was given when I was 55 a diagnosis of MCI, which is mild cognitive impairment, and it basically affected my whole life, and which means my job, and I had to retire, and so I basically had to redesign myself for this next portion of life.
I bet you did. What was your job, Steve?
I worked for actually Disneyland. I made sure all the attractions were maintained, they're operable and ready to be seen every morning for all the guests that came into Disneyland. And then if something went wrong, I would have them fixed.
I was the electrical operations superintendent for the state of Nevada, or state of Arizona, in the Phoenix area. And I maintained all of the big black message boards along the freeway and the ramp meters and the camera system. So yeah, I know what kind of stress that can cause.
Right. But the good part is you have a whole team behind you that helps you and gets things done. And so it was between a couple hundred people, we were able to keep that part going.
Yes, I bet it was interesting. Steve, when you got your diagnosis, is it in your family, or did it just kind of come out of nowhere like that one little gene does?
It came out of nowhere. My grandmother lived to 97 years old, and there was no problem there. And my parents didn't have any problem. It was all of a sudden just surprise. And
I know exactly how that is, because mine was the same way. Steve, when you were diagnosed, I know when I was, it was a shock, and it took a while to get over it, and I went through, the depression and all of this, and just started thinking about the end stage. What, I know you probably went through some of that. What brought you out to actually say, I have this, now what?
Basically, it took about a year to understand that I wasn't going back to work. I thought this was just a glitch in the system, or it wasn't my disease. I never bought into it, so I don't own this disease. At that point, we had a saying: it's not the end of the road, it's just a bend in the road. So I basically had to find out what my bend in the road looked like. And so I looked at this as an opportunity to have all the time in the world to do anything I want and have fun. It's not going to be in the business world anymore. I just have to figure out what world it's in. And so I basically created my own world. I decided I would go learn all the stuff in college that I wasn't able to take because I was taking business and engineering classes. Or I took a sheet metal welding, design, build a barbecue class. So I took that class. Then the instructor said, well, hey, we make barbecues for this way to make money for scholarships and we sell it at our spring thing. I said, what's a spring thing? Said, that's where all the classes get together and sell all the stuff that the kids have made. And he said, could you teach everybody how to make these barbecues? I said, hey, I'll make as many barbecues as you want to do and teach as many kids as you want how to do this. And so at the end of that semester, we had 30 barbecues all lined up, ready for sale.
That's awesome. When I noticed that you have the idea of, I want to do this. Let's figure out a way how. How important is that kind of as a lifestyle, especially for, all of us living with MCI and all the different forms of dementia?
I've kind of lived doing the impossible is the most fun ever thing to do, because it gives you a challenge to aim for, and it's preset for you. You don't have to think it. It's impossible to do it, so you do it. And that's what we did at Disney. Everything there was impossible to do, but we did it. So this was just one more thing that, hey, this isn't a problem. This is, this is what my daily wick has been for a long time. So I'm going to do the impossible. And my favorite thing for people to say is, you don't look like there's anything wrong with you. Are you sure? That is the biggest compliment I can ever receive, because I work very hard to look normal.
Yes, I know exactly how that is, because I get that all the time with, oh, you don't look like you have it.
Yeah.
But how important is the family being involved in this diagnosis? Because I've always told people that, a dementia diagnosis is a family disease, because it's going to affect every single person in that family. How has your family stood behind you?
Oh, they've been incredible. I couldn't create this illusion without them. My wife is behind me doing all the magic, making it appear like I'm normal. She puts in a long day to do it. It's her illusion that she's created, that I can create the illusion of nothing wrong with me. And, my son's always there going, here's what I expect of, you need to exercise, and he pushes me for exercising, and he's a fitness buff. So he says, you need to do this. I want you to do this. And, not one time, you need to do it 10 times. So he's pushing me on the physical part of it, because if you don't have the physical with it and getting the exercise, the mental doesn't matter.
That is extremely important. I know that you have done some, I think, a little bit of woodworking.
Yes.
Why don't you talk about that for a little bit?
Well, as I went through welding, machine shop, and I wasn't really finding the niche I wanted, then all of a sudden, the last thing on the list was this woodworking, make a chair. I thought, that it doesn't really sound like something I would really want to do, is make a chair, or even get involved in something like that. And so I thought, okay, I've taken all the other classes. Let's give this a try. It was incredible. It was an instant. I found what I was looking for, and I've stuck with that. And what I've learned about it is, I have loved wood all my life. I just didn't realize wood takes different forms. I love putting together houses, restoring old houses, and I love, working on my house and all what it takes to do it.
Well, Steve, I guess you didn't get the message that people with any forms of dementia can't learn.
No, I saw the headline on it, and I decided that doesn't apply to me, because I don't own this disease. So it isn't necessary for me to read those publications and say, this is what you can't do. Mine is, just tell me what I can do, and I'll show you what I can do.
That's amazing. I'm going to share my screen here. Tell us a little bit about that.
This is a green and green cabinet for you basically have for the bathroom, and a mirror would be put in the front of it, but I decided, you know, I need to redesign it so I can use it and put my coffee on when I'm watching TV and have it next to the couch, but I don't want it to extend out into the floor. I don't want it to be big. And so I redesigned this to have as much green and green design, meaning all the little knobs and detail work, and have what's called a cloud lift there. And I just started creating this table that was perfect for me. It, you know, it can keep all my stuff in there. The drawers are there, and it's just perfect for what I need. And this was my first table I built, and we needed a table that was the right height, that you didn't have to lean or hunch or do anything to play chess. And so my son and I played chess, and so I got it to the perfect height, the perfect size. As you see, there's a coaster on the other side, so I can put my coffee there, and you know, still keep all my chess pieces that I have won off the board in front of me.
Okay, and this is kind of my favorite.
That's my portable, I call it my portable man cave. I needed something that would hold the computer, and then I needed it to make sure that it held everything else. So there's a door that pulls towards you. It has a shelf in it, and you can put all, as I say, you can put all your glasses and wine glasses and beer mugs in there. And then the other side slides sideways into the back, and kind of the door disappears. And that's where you can keep your extra bottles of wine or anything you want. And then the drawers slide out, and you can keep your cards and your poker chips and all your stuff you need. And this was kind of a design as you go. I would kind of look at it and figure out how can I, like the top drawer has the bigger design pieces on the edges. Then the next drawer has the little smaller designs. The cloud lifts on the feet of the piece. So I basically try to keep it all in green and green fashion of 1908. So all these pieces can be in the same room, and you'll go, wow, these all match.
Steve, your attention to detail on these is just incredible. I know I tried to make a birdhouse, and I think the only thing that was successful about the birdhouse is it had a hole in it, and the birds could get in and out of it.
Then that's called a birdhouse then. So you accomplished your goal.
That was it. But the intricacy and stuff of the detail is amazing. Let me tell you, that is amazing.
Thank you.
What do you think was the hardest thing to overcome? You know, from where you started to where you are right now?
Making the first step, getting off the couch and saying, I'm going to make a difference in myself. I was told I had a little bit of depression. I had no idea what that meant, what that felt like, or anything, but I knew it wasn't good. I basically decided to be very selfish and do things for me. I figured that might change something. So I did things I didn't want to do, like leave the house and get up and go. You know, that was the start. But then my wife was eager to kick me out of the house and get me going and pushing and setting everything up, and, you know, getting, as I call it, the magic in, and being able to go out and do things. It wasn't, I don't think I could have done it myself. In fact, I know I couldn't have done it myself. It wasn't a real thought. And so by telling her what I wanted to do, she would basically make it happen. And then I had to make it happen work to get up, walk out the front door and do it.
I think, Steve, that is so important for people to understand that part of this process is us making a decision. This is where I'm at. Now, where am I going to go? And what am I going to do?
Yes, you can, and you do get in that, for me, I'm just going to sit here and watch TV and let happen what will happen, because I don't have any control of anything. It's out of my hands. It's out of my control. I have nothing to say, nothing to do with this. And you got to get over that, because it is all in your hands. It's all up to you. You're not in a little bubble by yourself and everyone goes, yeah, good luck. I want to see you play this game now.
Oh, that is so true. I know my biggest adjustment was I was similar to you. I had done, additions, and what I had worked my way up in, with the state of Arizona, and all of a sudden to have those things taken away. And I've always been the one to go help people and not ask for help. How was that transition for you to go from where you were to understanding that, like you just said, people are there to help you and get over that hurdle that a lot of people have?
I don't need help down to a science. So I'm not sure how my wife felt about that, going, hey, if we don't do something about this, I know where you end up. And I said, no, I don't end up anywhere. It's them who end up somewhere. I'm special. I can do nothing. I'm special, and I'll do just fine.
It is something to get by, because I know that I couldn't do the things I do without Bobby. She's like you said, she's Merlin the magician behind me that, does everything to allow me to do the things that I can do. So I understand, how important that is. And the one thing just to brief on it again, how important is your total family to be involved?
It's the world. Without that, this really can't be done. I wouldn't be doing what I'd be doing without the family. It just, I can't stress that the most. That's the secret. If you're going to say, what's the secret of this whole thing? It's your family.
I couldn't agree more. And I understand that you also do advocacy work.
Yes.
Why
Yes.
don't you speak a little bit on that?
We would go up to Sacramento and talk to the all of the people that represent us in Congress and in the Senate. And I could talk to them and say, hey, here's our problem. This is what we need. And you can ask me all the questions you want, and I'll answer them, because I was able to. And I was speaking for the people who weren't able to it.
I know exactly what you mean. I did that when I was in New Mexico. I went up, I think, 2 years straight and talked to the state legislatures and, the senators and representatives. And I just want to ask you if you maybe had the same reaction I did. The people that could go in and tell them all of the numbers, and there's people that have, there's this many people that have it and all of this. And it was like, to me, the legislators can kind of, just get right past that and not pay any attention. But when I came in and talked to them, there were 2 or 3 that would actually talk to me and says, I have a relative that is dealing with this also. And it's almost like if the people with the disease talk to them, we can almost talk to them on a different level than just, the representatives that come in that know all of the numbers, because ours is personal. This is what is happening to me. Did you have the same?
Oh, yes, that was exactly it. You would all of a sudden get the person after the numbers are given and everyone talks to stop and say, what do you think? My mother has this, and she's exactly what you're talking about. Could she have this disease? And I said, anything is possible. This comes out from nowhere. You don't have to have it in your family. You basically, it comes to you from nowhere. I said, yes, it's a good possibility. And then we had a conversation.
Well, our time is almost up. You're an amazing individual, Steve, and what you and your wife have done is just amazing. But there's one question that I always ask everybody. The last question: if this is the first video somebody sees that's either been diagnosed or just, one of their loved ones has been diagnosed, what would you tell them?
I would tell them this is not the end of the road. It's just a bend in the road. And look around and see where your new life is going and what exciting adventures you're going to make out of this, because it's all up to you now. You get to make the decisions of your life now, and you get to do new and exciting things. And it's a new opening for adventure. Go have an adventure.
See, that is so important. And thank you again for taking the time to talk with me. Please keep out there talking with people and telling them what you're able to do, because you want to.
Well, thank you for sharing this broadcast, and you're helping people by sharing this with them. Someone will see this and go, hey, that idiot can do it. I can do better. And they really can do better than what I'm doing. It's the sky is the limit.
I agree, and they can do a lot better than what I'm doing. I would like to thank Dementia Action Alliance for their support on behalf of This Dementia Life. I want to thank you for joining us today. You can view other podcasts on our website, danow.org. Click on podcasts. Join us again to meet the most inspiring and amazing people on This Dementia Life. I'm the host, Chuck McClatchey. Remember, the brain may forget, but the heart remembers. We'll see you next time. Bye-bye.